glory of winning. Hopefully the stream's working okay. If you are listening in, please do let me know. Let me know if you can hear me okay. Let me know if the stream's working okay. Obviously we don't want to stream this entire final out and then none of it work properly. Wedge with a 5 card setup to Luca's 2 card. Luca's Kingdom of Shadows, but a card in Shadows to immediately turn on the Dragon Pit. Wedge with a Shadow Black Lane, Westerlands, which could be nice for kneeling influence, Economy, and 2 draw cards. So you got to say Wedge is going to be very happy with that setup. Glad to hear the stream's working great. Hello Drakey, hello Jalen, hello Sally. Glad to hear you're all listening in. Also apologies to Jalen, because I almost certainly mispronounced your name. On Luca's side, he's probably less happy with that setup, but ultimately it depends on what cards he's got in his hand, what's in Shadows as well. He's going to be very happy to see Wedge only set up 1 strength characters. Glad to hear I can pronounce names when I'm just guessing as best I can. So we see Threat from the North plays at the gates, and obviously Threat from the North there, Luke is immediately looking to hit Wedge's Economy and his draw. At the gates, Wedge normally would fetch Mace to Amon, I believe, turn 1. I'm guessing we're going to see Pycelle this time, because he won't immediately get discarded to the threat. At the same time, I'm guessing he won't last too long. And it's a big play, really, by Luca to spend that threat turn 1. He must be sitting on multiple strength reduction effects in his hand. I mean, to be fair, that's half his deck that I just described, so that's not exactly a big surprise. But yeah, to spend that threat turn 1, he knows he must be getting some good mileage out of it. Trying to see their hands as best I can, but neither of them are being camera friendly at the moment. Wedge has got some Kneel and Egret, Refugee. Scantrail on the stream. Glad to see you're up very early by your standards. Hello. Saying turn 1 threat seems like a mistake. It's one of those things where it depends a lot on what he's got in his hand. Obviously he's still got his Valor. If Luca's looking to get a good board position this round so that he probably can turn to Fear of Winter and just really lock in the board position as early as he can, because it's quite an aggressive Dragon Pit deck. You see there Luca playing down the influence. If he's got any Incinerates in his hand and intends on playing characters, then that's going to be a huge play. House Clay and Brigands going down, of course, on Wedge's side, and that is likewise a huge play, because having a beefy character could upset Luca a lot here. Currently 3 strengths between the Dragon Pit and the threat, so depending on what Luca's got in his hand, that Brigands could do some real damage. I saw an Incinerate there in Luca's hand and a Tawny Grounds. So if he's got a Flame Kist or anything like that, he can take control of that Brigands now. I think he wants to play a character for that Incinerate, because Wedge does have the Westerlands, but I don't think he had any Event Kneel in his hand, so he won't have a chance to kneel that influence out before Luca uses it to do terrible, terrible things. Luca thinking about triggering the sea there, weighing up whether he wants the influence for the Incinerate or whether he wants the economy for a character base. He's paying 1. Caldro goes 10. Okay, so he wants the second influence. That means he can threat the Flame Kiss. I don't know whether he actually has one in his hand or not, we couldn't see. but he's got the threat of it at least. Threat, of course, not being a pun on the plot, or at least not an intentional one. Yeah, Wedge is now in a awkward position because if he declares the intrigue challenge with the brigands, then if Luca has that flame kist in hand, Wedge is giving up his brigands. But if Luca's bluffing, then Wedge is in a bad way if he just passes a golden opportunity to get the intrigue through, get a military for that matter. Of course, if Wedge doesn't attack, then Luca may well be able to ambush in a Dragon Knight or whatever anyway. But as it is, they've both passed challenges. Wedge has decided that he doesn't want to risk it. And Wedge is happy to play the long game here. He essentially just wants to get his city plot chain pushed through to round 4 so that he can city besiege away that dragon pit. He may even actually city besiege now, because I believe he is running City of Spiders, so he may look to get rid of the tourney grounds. But although, that said, I don't know if he's willing to sacrifice his only economy card or his Westerlands, which are both powerful cards for him. City of Soldiers plays Taken Captive, so Wedge is getting City of Soldiers out of the way because he knows that it can't hit anyone, and he just wants the 2 claim. He wants to be able to push hard with the brigands now that he's not worried about the threat. I see you killed the wrong dwarf for Wedge there. I didn't see the other card. Luca's hand. Stuff is the best I can offer. Craven listening in. Hi Craven. This is round 2 just beginning. Round 1 saw no challenges due to threat from the north. I think I see a refugee in Luca's hand. That was the best I could get. It's Wedge playing first. He's played Street of Sisters, triggering that, and Shadow Black for, I think that's Lysa Arryn, presumably in the deck to be able to cancel Green Seer's Ravens on his city plots. As it is, I suspect she's going to be a bit of a chump body. He just wants to be able to play out a nice spread of characters to increase the number of challenges he can get through. Obviously he's got quite a large hand. He doesn't mind losing the characters. But now that the threat's gone, he can play the 2 strength characters with aplomb. And this may be where Scan Travel proves right about the turn 1 threat feeling like a mistake, because Luca only discarded 2 characters there, and 1 turn of stall, and because of the city plotline, the turn of stall benefits Wedge just as much as it benefits Luca. And now, the refugee, Lysa, I think that's a weaponsmith, they can all go down without worrying about being discarded next plot phase. So Luca's refugee and a shadow parasite. Very economically sound ban, Luca. And Magister Illyrio, and that's a big red flag for Wedge right there. Luca's in a slightly awkward position in that he'd love to be able to bring a card out of Shadows, of course, to trigger Illyrio, but he needs a card in Shadows to keep the Dragon Pit switched on. He's got 1 gold remaining. So if he brings the card out to trigger Illyrio, they won't have the -1 strength from the Dragon Pit. You've got to assume Luca has some sort of ambush character in his hand. Then again, he may well use Incinerate. Oh, Wedge went to, you've killed the wrong dwarf Illyrio. Illyrio, of course, a noble. But Wedge has targeted the tourney grounds there. Rather than the influence. I guess he figures the difference between 2 influence and 1 influence isn't too major if he's expecting an Incinerate. Currently, of course, Luca does have 3 allies on the table. So, with the Dragon Pit, he would have been able to incinerate the Brigands before that tourney grounds got nailed. Now he can just incinerate anyone he wants except the Brigands. Wedge, of course, choosing Shadow Seer as the one to kneel after Illyrio because it helps limit Luca's ability to put cards in shadows. Luca's going to have reasonable economy next round, but he needed to play out his Illyrio to get his own game plan going. And as long as he's only got one card in shadows, he's severely hampered, because it almost doesn't matter what the card in shadows is, it's not going to be worth him bringing it out and turning off the pit. And Wedge has decided he wants to win this injury challenge. He's gone in for an initial 6 strength. I can see why he wants to win it. 2 claim intrigue is a valuable thing to push through. And it means he gets the Brigands stood, even if Luca incinerates the Brigands or Pycelle and triggers Shadow Parasite. He still won't have enough to win the challenge, I don't think. Or will he? Oh no, yeah, so he could incinerate here and oppose with Shadow Parasite and Illyrio and successfully win the challenge. That would involve kneeling out everything on his side except the Refugee of the Plains. But it would also kill Grand Maester Pycelle. And Wedge wouldn't be able to push through any more challenges on his 2 claim rounds, so that may well be how Luca plays this. It'll be quite interesting to see how the taken captive turn goes. So Luca is opposing for an initial 3. So it's currently 6-3 in Wedge's favour, but the Incinerate will make a swing. And there kneels the Influence, and there goes the Incinerate. So he's choosing it on... I'm not sure he's choosing it on, I guess the Brigands, because they're doing challenge math rather than the... I believe Luca's incinerated the Brigands there. I'm pretty sure he could have gotten away with incinerating Pycelle. Wedge sitting on secret orders. And that means Wedge is going to win that challenge anyway. And that's terrible news for Luca, because now he's spent his Incinerate. He didn't manage to kill anyone. He's taken a Flame Kissed and a Condemned by the Council. That is huge. That Condemned by the Council would have killed the mines. Instead, he's lost 3 cards from his hand, and the Brigands are still loose to win the military challenge with. A major, major play for Wedge there. Luca, I believe, is now down to 1 card in hand, 1 card in shadows. He's about to lose a 2-claim military challenge, which Wedge can push through by going with the Brigands and the Refugee. Oh no, Luca choosing not to oppose it. Scantrell saying if he incinerates Pycelle, Wedge wins 5-5. Parasite only gets +2. Okay, I wasn't 100% sure on how the Parasite worked there. That would explain that decision. So Wedge has not done a power challenge. He's instead decided to lose a power challenge on defense, which I find a bit strange. And that's a huge play for Luca. He's able to drop Drogo and trigger Illyrio to get rid of the Brigands. And getting rid of the 5-strength dude almost makes it worth it. And Wedge has got to be kicking himself that the 1 card that he wasn't able to pull from Luca's hand was that Khal Drogo, because that is a major deal. 2 in 3 chance of hitting the character that hurt him badly. Wedge chucking his Refugee that he'll lose for dominance anyway. Oh, you would have had the gold to keep the Refugee, actually. Okay, fair enough. So they both have a gold. So it's, oh, did Wedge have more than 1 gold? Sorry, it's tough to tell from the stream. I guess he must have done, because he took dominance despite Luca having gold left over. Now, presumably it's going to be Sin for Wedge. I don't know what Luca's got available to him. He's going to be taking Fear of Winter. Off of taking Captive, it makes sense. Wedge is going to be down to 2 characters. And this is a tough spot for Wedge, because he kind of has to kneel out the ones that Luca takes. Sorry, the ones that Luca has already. Because he can't kneel out one of his own characters, because then Luca just takes a different one. But that means that Luca's going to have a standing Pycelle. Wedge using the Westerlands there to kneel out the locations that are obvious choices. I mean, he may well want the Kingdom of Shadows instead, but no, he's going for the Influence. So now, Wedge has 2 standing characters to Luca's 1, but Wedge has 1 standing strength to Luca's 3, so... Don asking if Dom should be a tie. I think Wedge might have had 2 coins stacked on top of each other for Dom. It's tough to tell from the top-down view in the stream because Wedge's coins stack very neatly. But I can only assume that's the case because there are loads of players around the table. I'm sure at least one of them would have noticed that it would have been a tie at 1 each. Obviously, Luca here may well not want to play any card so that he can bounce Drogo in and get the 2-claim military through. But if he does that, he risks Wedge's Wrath. But Wedge is playing a card. He's playing an enemy Informer to kneel Pycelle. And that kind of forces Luca's hand here. He's got to play a character if he wants to get anything. Oh, he's sitting on them because he's got the Warlock of Karth. So he's no cards in Shadows, but he doesn't care because now he can push through 2-claim power. Sorry, yeah, 2-claim power with 2 strength. And then bounce Drogo in for the 2-claim military and keep Wedge's board down. Just had confirmation that Wedge did have 2 gold last time. So that's how he won Dom. Yalen asking if Luca forgot Illyria. He did forget Illyria from what I can tell, and if he'd remembered that and killed the weaponsmith, then the 2-claim military from Drogo would hurt a lot more. Oh, he's remembered it this time, so it makes no difference. Wedge is running the right Solaris Oak cart, this is true. So yeah, Luca wiping Wedge's board. Of course, Wedge will get the Pycelle back, so that'll be some consolation, but I'm guessing not too much. On the other hand, Wedge now does have 3 cities, so he's seeded his plot pile to get rid of that dragon pit. So, board position to Luca, power count to Luca, hand very much to Wedge, plot situation you gotta say is to Wedge. Wedge is in a slightly awkward position. He doesn't have an easy location to get rid of. I guess it will be the Shadow Black lane. Because he's got the Street of Sisters in hand. Craven's saying he thinks the other Oak card will be a more welcome sight. I think he'll be perfectly happy to discard that Illyrio, mate, to be honest with you. I think discarding Illyrio and having a power icon on the board will be of utmost importance to him. So it is indeed Shadow Black and Dragon Pit that go away. But Luca's kind of already, in a weird way, gone through the burn phase here. He's used the burn to clear Wedge's board twice, with Threat from the North on the first turn, and then Illyrio and the Incinerate and so on, getting rid of the Brigands and then getting the 2-claim military that turn. So now Luca's presumably going to have to play this a bit more sort of hard aggro. He does still have the burn to help force through his challenges, and he does still have Valor, as does Wedge. Don asking if Wedge is running Valor. Yes, both players are running Valor Morghulis. So, and to my knowledge, neither are running Valor de Harris. to be interesting to see how much Luca can disrupt Wedge here, because Wedge, it presumably would be considering the Valor for next turn. Obviously, he's a bit short on the resources. Luca's got a card in Shadows. Luca's got 2 gold producers. A gold road for Wedge. That helps him a lot in that regard. Obviously, the Street of Sisters, the Warlock bounced previously. And the Sunset Sea, so ignore exactly what I just said about being short on resources. That's clearly not the case. Nate commenting on my ever-present professionalism, which I think is just a given, really. So Wedge, handful of cards. It's a case for him of how many he wants to spend this round. He's playing the Oak Heart play, so he is looking to... He's not looking to just sit back and Valor, which is probably for the best, because that's an easy enough strategy to play around. Luca's got the Drogo in hand. Wedge knows he needs to take the fight to Luca a bit here. And Janos Slint. And a Conspirator. That's great news for Wedge. Terrible news for Luca. Losing the Deadly Intrigue icon and the strength reducing location in one fell blow. So Luca playing out more influence. So you know, 3 standing influence. 2 standing influence. Playing the Hatchling. We know he's got Khal Drogo in hand. He's played Meraxes. I think, is he down to 1 card in hand now? Because if so, we know that's Drogo. I don't know if Luca has the means to stop an Intrigue challenge. Did they just... Oh, there's Janos that died. For a moment I thought it was Pycelle. I was thinking he's 3 strength, but no, yes. Okay, so I believe it's just Drogo in hand for Luca, although I could be wrong. It's tough to tell. Wedge can force through an Intrigue challenge, because the Hatchling can't defend. So Luca only has 2 standing Intrigue strength. Of course, the Kingdom of Shadows will stand back up either the Warlock or the King's Landing Assassin after an Intrigue challenge, but that seems like a very easy price to pay for getting rid of Drogo. Wedge taking his time. He doesn't want to take any chances here, which I guess maybe means that Luca... Oh no, he did only have the Drogo, so I don't know why Wedge went in with both of them there. He clearly didn't have to, given that Drogo was the only card in hand. But I guess you start second guessing yourself when it gets to the final. Wedge choosing to stand the military icon rather than the power, so you've got to say Wedge is looking at Valoring next turn. That's what that says, because it means Wedge wants to be able to, I guess, push through a power challenge, because he won't be able to defend due to the Hatchling. Scantrell wants to know if Wedge is running conclaves. Not to my knowledge. Not to my knowledge. He may have snuck a cheeky one in there, but not to my knowledge. So Wedge choosing to sit back, not declare challenges. I guess this way he's saving from either the military or the power. Luca basically has to choose which one he'd rather get through, going with both. No, he's choosing to only attack with 1. We'll find out which one it was after. I guess probably yeah. So Wedge opposed the military because he didn't have any power to steal on the power challenge. Luca will take Dom thanks to his Meraxes. And draw. And for Luca's sake, I hope he drew a very good card there, because if Wedge Valor's here, then with a handful of cards, some economy, the Golden Tooth Mines, Luca with just the 1 card, you've got to say Luca's in a bad way. Luca doing the cards at command count. Wedge. It'll be interesting to see if that is a bluff or whether we've got a rally cry probably on the Golden Tooth Mines incoming. I mean, for me here, that Valor is a no-brainer play for Wedge. It gives him... He knows he can flood better than Luca can. And it gets it out of the way for later as well. And if Luca is thinking about using Rally Cry, then Wedge will even win initiative with that Valor and be able to put Luca in first and kneel his stuff out again with the Constrictor. And Wedge has chosen Valor. Luca's not chosen Rally Cry, so Luca's taking initiative with the Aftermath here. I guess... I'm not sure why that. I guess he figured with Valor, no one's going to have more than 3 characters on the board for the foreseeable future. He'd rather just make sure he takes initiative. Now, I saw at least one event in Luca's hand there, of Varys in Shadows. He's got a very good chance of being relevant in a game against Lannister. And did I see another resource location? Luca will be very upset if he's been top decking resources at this point of the game. Having a look at his plots. Oh, turning them face down again. Maybe he just wants to be able to have an excuse to replay threat. I don't know. Yeah, so Wedge is playing out Aemon to be able to protect from his own Valor. Oh, sorry, from Luca's Valor. Don't know how long Aemon will last against Luca, but it depends how what he's got as far as the burn goes. That's all Wedge is playing. He's sitting on the remaining gold that he's got. And Luca has played out another C. He did have another C, and Varys into Shadows, but no allies to bring Varys out against. So they're just going to sit there. Dominance is going to go Luca's way. It'll be interesting to see if Luca wants to give them both a card here. If it was me, I would. Wedge is clearly already swimming in cards and Luca needs to see them. So yeah, they both draw. I think I saw a Volantis in for Wedge maybe. Luca couldn't see. So now, presumably it's going to be a no-brainer rally cry for Luca. With Wedge having a handful of cards, there's no doubt who has more cards at command. I'm slightly surprised he played the Aftermath last time rather than Rally Cry. I guess he just really wanted that initiative. But yeah, it's a no-brainer now to me. Yeah, Scantrell's right. He says in the chat, Wedge only has 1 power, so this is almost certainly going to reach plot 8, and that means Luca's going to get access to threat and Valor again. So there's a long, long way to go in this one yet. Maybe City of Spiders plays Rally Cry. So I'm not sure what Wedge is looking to copy. I guess it has to be City Besieged to take out either Meraxes or Tawny Grounds. Yeah, so Rally Cry discards Aemon, and City Besieged discards the Street of Sisters and the Meraxes. So Wedge desperately trying to choke Luca's draw as much as he can here. And Wedge has drawn the Manda. I think an Enemy Informer or a Conspirator or something. I didn't see the third card properly. It looked like a location. Iron Throne. Iron Throne Informer. Yeah. It's a handful of good Lanny cards for Wedge. I saw at least one character there for Luca, which he'll be grateful for. Shadows card and a Refugee. Okay. Fortunately, it's difficult to tell from here how much power Luca is actually on, how close he is to 15. I'll see if I can find out. So bear with me 1 second. Our store owner Alexi has just gone to find out how much power Luca is on. So I'll be able to report that back to you. Wedge, of course, a handful of good cards, but only 3 gold. He's chosen to spend it on an Informer. Okay, Luca is on 11 power, so that may well be why he targeted aim on here. He wants to keep the Night's Watch presence down, I guess. It'll be interesting to see now whether Luca goes for the military or the power. I guess the military, just because Wedge has got 2 claim, but the power would move Luca up to 13. Luca thanking his lucky stars that Wedge doesn't have a "you've killed the wrong dwarf" in hand, because if he did, he would be a very, very sad person right now. Oh, he did. Okay, well there we go. Apologies to Luca for cursing him. So Luca up to 12 power, but now there's going to be presumably a 2-claim military. Luca with 2 forever burnings to reduce enemy Informer strength to 0. Wow. And then the gold to win dominance and the standing influence to get the forever burnings back. And Luca up to 13 power now. With those 2 forever burnings, this is going to be very tough for Wedge, because he clearly can't reach 15 before threat now. Luca's on so much power. And Wedge is going to be stuck on Betrayal. Luca, playing Valor, obviously doesn't want to freeze it. Yeah, Wedge is going to be stuck with Betrayal as his 8th plot. He won't have anything to flip into, even if he does have the 2 Night's Watch in play. Luca's going to have access to threat again with the 2 forever burnings. So you feel like if this was a race to 20 power, Wedge might win it, but at a race to 15, I think currently it looks like Luca is in the driving position. I think he should be able to stop Wedge from stopping him. That said, I've been wrong several times before. So no, Luca's got a Varys in Shadows, 2 forever burnings in hand, plus presumably some other stuff. Oh, having said Luca doesn't want to freeze his Valor, that's of course exactly what he actually has done, isn't it? So if Wedge is able to survive this round, then whenever the inevitable threat comes, survive that, Wedge is suddenly in a great position. Wedge plays Conspirator, card of his own into Shadows, and that's his lot. Interesting. No power icons on the board for Wedge. If Luca has one to bring out, no doubt that he will. Which brings out Kyburn. And that is a very important play to be able to make here. Not sure what he'll be grabbing. Maybe the Warlock of Karth, just for the deadly. The Kingdom of Shadows is standing. He'll be able to use it himself. Of course, if he does do that, the Warlock of Karth is an ally, and that means Varys can come out of Shadows. If he chooses Boros Blount, then Varys can't come out of Shadows. Matters very little for much beyond the unopposed, but the unopposed is undoubtedly important here. And Wedge has chosen Warlock of Karth, and I can only assume now we're going to be seeing Varys come out, unless has Luca spent all his gold? He had 4. I think he's only spent 2 on a card in Shadows. He should have 2 gold remaining, although I can't see any. Luca considering his options. Of course, he probably doesn't even want to bring Varys out because obviously he'll just be killed for military claim. Although then again, Luca does have the Forever Burnings. Alright, Luca has 3 gold remaining. I'm missing. Ah, right. Oh yeah, no. So yeah, below Drogo's tent there are two gold tokens there. I think he just played one of the Temple of the Graces. He had 5 gold going in. He spent 2 on a card in Shadows, and one of them's gone astray. No point, other than for dominance, there's no point in spending too long quibbling about the exact amount of gold. If Luca ends up not winning or winning dominance because of that gold, then it will matter, but otherwise let's not worry ourselves too much here. Is even if Luca brings Varys out to discard the Warlock and then uses the Forever Burnings on the Conspirator, it's still not going to go well for him because of Qyburn having Deadly on the Intrigue. He can kneel out the Kingdom of Shadows and stand Qyburn back up, and then Varys will be able to push through a challenge, but Wedge will in fact no, yeah, so then Cersei's scheme would kneel out Varys, and or Varys would die for the Deadly from Qyburn, so there's very little benefit for Luca. They may well have already moved on past that point, and Wedge may be thinking about his challenges, and he is thinking about his challenges, so thinking very hard. Which needs to go Intrigue with both his Shadows cards. Luca's going to have to play the Forever Burnings to get rid of them, so they don't get discarded for Intrigue claim, and then whichever one, presumably Luca just spends them on the Conspirator. I know Wedge has gone for power. I don't know why he led with a power challenge there, when there's the Kingdom of Shadows on the table. Nope, that one confuses me. Anyone have any ideas on the stream? The Fighting Pit is standing as well, but that's still only reduced by 1. So I think Wedge could have got through Intrigue and Power that turn. And now we see the threat for the second time plays the betrayal that Wedge was stuck with. Wedge drawing a bunch of cheap characters, but of course he does already have a large hand, so it may not be relevant. But I mean, the big deal here obviously is Luca having the 2 Forever Burnings and 4 standing influence. So Luca's basically going to be able to board wipe Wedge here. I believe Luca's now on 11 power, possibly 12. So will Luca be able to play out enough characters to win this game, this turn? If not, then he will at least be able to clear Wedge's board and possibly push for the win next turn. Although of course Wedge will at that point have access to Valor again and be able to reset the table. So yeah, I think either Luca will win this soon, or this is going to last quite a while longer. Wedge has gone with Harrenhal, which honestly I don't agree with here. He doesn't have the characters to chuck to it, at least not yet. So Flea Bottom is going to go down. Presumably the last gold and Flea Bottom is going to be used to play a Chud that he can sacrifice. I think I see a refugee in there. Craven's explained it. So if he led with the Intrigue, then both attackers meet 1 Forever Burning, and then the 20 grounds stops the other one on the Power Challenge, and Wedge just wanted to force the Power Challenge through, which makes a lot of sense. Very well pointed out. So Wedge just played a Nil Arbor Guardsman, and that presumably is just going to be Harrenhal fodder. So Luca's making not beating around the bush. He's just immediately discarding Kyburn to threat with the Forever Burning. Wedge, of course, has the option of sacrificing something to Harrenhal to cancel it, and he is doing so. But there's the second Forever Burning incoming, and Wedge kind of is forced to sacrifice this Arbor Guardsman for the second one. Oh no, he's sacrificed Kyburn. So I guess he must have a trick up his sleeve, because a renowned character in Jaime Lannister, and that may well be game right there. If Wedge doesn't have a Wrong Dwarf, which I don't think he does, then that's game, because Jaime does Intrigue, Renown, unopposed. Jaime does Military, Renown, unopposed. Is it over just like that? It's over just like that. Luca Manfredini, undefeated in 10 games, is the Battle of Blackwater Bay Joust Champion 2015. Congratulations to Luca. Very well played, Wedge, and commiserations. Very tight game. And Luca sat on the Jaime brilliantly. Credit to both players there. We may have... I don't think playing the throne would have helped on, because then Jaime would have just not been triggered. It wouldn't have made a difference, I don't think. I don't know if we're going to be doing any of the other matches on the stream. If we do, it certainly won't be with commentary, because I'm going to be playing the melee today. There's a melee and a draft tournament today. The melee being run by me, the draft being run by Tagore. The table is clearly not big enough for melee, but we might be able to get some draft games on. If so, I'm sure Tagore will update on AGOT cards or Facebook page or whatever. So keep an eye on things. In the meantime, thanks for watching, guys. It's been a fun time spent here commentating on all these games. I look forward to doing it again sometime in the future. But until then, see you around. Okay, for those still listening, Tagoras just told me the draft will be on the stream. Thanks for the positive messages in the comments. And yes, the draft will be streamed. Not with a commentary, but we're going to see if we can hook both the players playing the draft up, so you'll be able to hear their comments rather than an impartial third person's. So, yeah, that should be good. Obviously that won't be off for a while because we need to do the draft. But yeah. That's it from me, so see you around.